Girls, let's take a look at slide number 6 in our Desmos for today's lesson. It is a real world problem. We need to read the information, come up with a plan, and then solve our problem. So let's read through it, and let's just read through it first. Okay, so Kiki hiked 5 5/10 miles before lunch and 4 35 of a mile after lunch. Natalie hiked 2 65 of a mile before lunch and 8 1/10 mile after lunch. How much further did Natalie hike than Kiki? Okay, so I read through that the first time, and I've gotten some information, but I'm going to read through it again, and I'm going to jail my details. I'm going to highlight some things that are important. And on this slide, I can directly write on the board. So let's go back and reread and try to understand what the information is that they're giving us, and then what they want us to do. All right, so Kiki hiked, oh, this is important, 5.5 miles before lunch and 4.35 miles after lunch. Natalie hiked 2.65 miles before lunch and 1.8 miles after lunch. The question is, how much further did Natalie hike than Kiki? So next I need to come up with a plan, right? I need to find out how much Kiki hiked in all, and then how much Natalie hiked in all, before I can find out how much Natalie hiked further. So let me add together. I'm going to add how much Kiki hiked before and after lunch, and then I'm going to add how much Natalie hiked before and after lunch. So let's see here. Kiki is going to go 5 5/10 before lunch, and okay, and I'm noticing I'm lining everything up so that my place values are all in the same line. Okay. So since I'm adding, and I always want to start with my smallest place value spot with adding and subtracting. But since I'm adding, there's nothing here. I could put a 0 there. I don't have to put a 0 there. All right, so 0 plus 5 is 5. 5 plus 3 is 8. Oh, very, very important. Bring straight down that decimal point. 5 plus 4 is 9. So I know that Kiki, oh, that's supposed to be K. Not very clear, is it? Let's see, I'll make a better one. I can do better. There we go. Kiki, she hiked 9 85 of a mile that day. Let me find out how much Natalie hiked. All right, so I've got to find out how much she hiked before lunch, 2 65 hundredths. And I'm going to add that with how much she hiked after lunch, 8 1/10. So I'm going to continue to add, and I start with my smallest place value, 5 and nothing. I could put a 0 there. It doesn't add any value to that number. So 5 and nothing is 5. 6 and 1 is 7. Bring down that very important decimal point. 2 and 8 is 10. All right, so here we go. Natalie hiked 10 75 hundredths of another mile before and after lunch. Okay, so I now know how much Kiki hiked and how much Natalie hiked. The question says, how much further did Natalie hike than Kiki? So I've got to take the amount that Natalie hiked, which was 10 miles, and she did 75 hundredths of another mile. And I need to subtract, because I'm trying to find the difference between the two. I need to subtract the total amount that Kiki hiked. So she hiked 9 and 8,500 of a mile. All right. So when I subtract, I'll find the difference, and the difference is going to tell me how much further Natalie hiked than Kiki. Now I'm going to use what I know about subtracting decimals. Okay, I start with the smallest place value, my hundredths place. So 5, take away 5, up is 0. And notice how everything is lined up as neatly as I can. Now I realize when you're working on a whiteboard with a marker and a mouse, it's a little bit more challenging. Do the best you can, okay? Right, so 7 take away 8. Oh gosh, I can't do that. Can't take away 8 away from something that doesn't have 8. So I'm going to do some regrouping, some borrowing. I'm going to go over to the ones place and say, hey, 0, can I borrow from you? And the 0 is going to say, nope, I don't have anything for you to borrow. So I'm going to go to the 1 in the tens place, and I'm going to say, but you do. I'm going to borrow from the 1 and make the ones place 10, which I'm going to borrow and make it a 9, because then I'm going to make my 7 tenths into 17. Okay, so 17 take away 8 leaves me with 9. Oh, bring down that very, very important decimal point. And then 9 take away 9 is 0, and I can fill that in. I don't have to, but I can. And 1 take, I don't have anything left over here. So I'm 0. So I know that, oh, I'm running out of space. Natalie hiked, oh gosh, 0.9 or 9/10 or 90 hundredths. And I want to put a mile. I can't label it because I'm running out of space. Mile, that's an M. Actually, I'll put it up here. How about this? 0.9 miles more. There we go. So this problem required us to do 3 different steps. We had to add Kiki's total amount she hiked first. Then we had to add Natalie's total amount she hiked second. Then third, we had to take how far Natalie hiked and subtract how far Kiki hiked. So we found the difference. So we know that Natalie hiked 9/10, or we can say 90 hundredths of a mile more than Kiki. If your whiteboard doesn't look like mine, if you made a mistake or you went wrong somewhere, do you see what you did? Go back, change it. If you didn't make any mistakes, then you don't have to change it, and you know that your work is on point.